Hello.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's press conference. Coach will not be making an opening statement, but we'll start right with questions.
It's you and I.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's do it. You always got that positive look on your face, so I appreciate you. If there's going to be one guy here,
I enjoy these things. I really do.
awesome. Right. What do you want to? What do you want to talk about? The Wildcats, or what do we want to do?
Oh, you don't. Okay.
Right.
No, we'll just jump. We'll jump to questions. Okay. Young quarterbacks getting their first live action. Kind of. You've coached them. You're familiar with, progression, first couple games, first 6 games, et cetera. What kinds of things, what kinds of milestones are you looking for? You can say, I'm not speaking of either of the quarterbacks specifically, but just generally in quarterback development.
Yeah, I think it's a good question. Generally speaking, you're looking for them to make good decisions and be accurate with the ball. And then and they've, for the most part, done that. Obviously, not always. But, when you're playing quarterback, you're so reliant on other positions. So we got to do better around them. And they got to improve. And it's not just on the quarterbacks. But that being said, we got to play better at every position. And we got to do a better job of protecting them and running the football and staying out of those, third and long situations, which it's difficult to protect in those things and make it hard on any quarterback, let alone a young quarterback. But I got confidence in those guys that they can both play and progress.
Thank you, John. We will be using the raise hand function. So as they come in, we will be calling on people. Troy Clardy, you're up first.
Hey, Coach, good to see you. 2 things, if I can, kind of staying along the lines of quarterbacks and how things went on Saturday. Was Ashton Daniels in the first half and then Justin Lamson in the second half? Was that the plan going into the game on Saturday?
No, I wanted to play Justin, but it was more of a field deal. So it wasn't like necessarily first or second half, but I did plan on playing him. In the kind of the way it played out, I thought he deserved an opportunity, and I wanted to see him play more, especially early in the season. I just want to, quarterbacks, you want to see what it looks like when it's live. Got to see Justin against SC, and then wanted to see him again this week.
A second thing, from a reception standpoint, a quiet night for Ben Urosic. What sort of things went into that?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the way the game unravels, it's not a purposeful thing. Obviously, it's one of those things where we need to get him involved, and when we're moving the ball well, he's usually a big part of it. So they did a good job of limiting the amount of touches that he had, and then I got to be more aware and cognizant of getting him involved in the game. So that'll be a point that we emphasize this week for sure.
Thank you, Troy. Harold?
Hey, Coach. The teams struggles at times defending against kind of dual threat quarterbacks. You have a couple, some more dual threat quarterbacks coming up in the next few weeks. I guess what do you think needs to change, or what can you guys do to kind of help us?
Right. And this league is full of really talented dual threat quarterbacks. And this week, we see it again. So it's very challenging. And the thing is that, especially, the quarterback for Sac State, Gaethan Bennett, really exceptional runner. You talk about keeping him in the pocket and limiting, and then they're hard to get on the ground sometimes, and, Caleb was the same way. So it's something we definitely got to improve, because the QB run is something we're going to continue to see. And then not just, schematic quarterback run. Sometimes it's the scrambles and the extension of plays, as you saw on Saturday night, that hurt us the most. They were ad-libbed or off of blitzes where we lost contain, or he just made a great play to avoid contain or go underneath it. And honestly, those were all the key plays on that side of the ball. All the key plays were undesigned quarterback scrambles and runs. So something that's challenging for sure, because you have coverage, you have run responsibilities and run fits. You're trying to put pressure on the quarterback. You're trying to stay with your levels in the pass rush lanes. So it's not one of those things where you just say, hey, we're just going to stop the the quarterback scrambling, it's definitely challenging at all levels, but it's something we got to improve on.
Thank you, John.
Coach, back to the Stanford passing game, a couple of really cool things I thought last game were the sort of mid ball flight adjustments that Alec and Moody did on a couple of long ones, one of which resulted in a touchdown. Were those aha moments for you? Had you seen them in practice, and do those kind of ball skills figure
I think
into
so.
your
Yeah.
play call?
Those are things that get me excited about our young guys. Is you see them for a moment, they'll make those plays where they're just they're playing in a flow state. They're not thinking, they're just reacting, and you see that natural ability. Now, sometimes with those guys, they're so young and inexperienced that they're thinking a little too much, and we all know when we're thinking about things too much, we're not that great at what we do. So with more experience, we're going to keep throwing the ball to those guys and giving them more opportunities. And, on the one, Ash did a great job of giving them an opportunity, not overthrowing them. A lot of times, the overthrows are the most frustrating, just because, you have no chance of completing the ball nor get a pass interference. So our quarterbacks got to do a good job of giving those guys a chance. I always tell them we complete 0% of the passes that we overthrow or throw out of bounds. So we got to give those guys a shot. And good things happen on the underthrow. We had one that Justin threw on an underthrow that turned out to be a great play. And then, of course, the one you talked about that wasn't, was probably in a pretty good spot to where he threw it. So we got to continue to do that. And we got to do a better job of protecting, so our quarterback has more time to find his target and be precise with his throw. We're all connected. It's unavoidable. So from me getting us in the right play call at the right time, which I didn't always do, to our offensive line protecting, and that involves our running backs and our tight ends, not just our O-line, but the whole protection in general, and then making plays on the perimeter. And you got to do it all in one shot, and having 10 guys having 11 or 11 guys playing well, but I don't make the right call. If you're just misfiring, and it's really hard against good competition. So, but the good thing is our guys realize that some of it is self-inflicted, where we can eliminate those things. And then some of it's playing against really good guys, and we just got to get better.
Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, just thoughts on the Wildcats and what you're going to see from them on Saturday.
I mean, offensively, they're incredibly explosive. They're averaging, I think, almost 9 yards per play, 31 points per game, which could be a lot higher. Really good backs, really good quarterback. Wide receivers are explosive. They do a lot of different things. Very well coached. And so they're a handful on, like a lot of the teams in the Pac-12, really explosive offenses with great schemes and good quarterbacks. And so on the defensive side of the ball, they play a lot of defensive linemen, like 8 or 9 guys. Are constantly rotating. Number 11 is a handful. I think he's really exceptional on the edge. Their linebacker is really good. Their corners are super long. They're 6'2" to 6'4". So the passing lanes and windows are very tight, and they're sound schematically. They're a one high team, and so they protected the middle of the field. And they make it difficult on you. They don't make mistakes. They make you drive the whole distance. So it's another really good team that we're playing. I think as the year goes on, I think people see that Arizona is a really good football team. So, we got to play well to give ourselves a shot, but our guys will be ready.
Thank you, Harold.
I'm wondering, did you have to work on kind of building the guys back up at all? It seemed like it was sort of it could have been a demoralizing loss, just the way it happened, and the home opener and everything on Saturday. I guess did you have to do anything with their kind of mental state?
I'm always concerned about that. You just put so much into it as players and as coaches that when it doesn't work out, it's definitely demoralizing, especially the first 24 hours. What you're trying to do is eliminate anything beyond that. You can't have a hangover, going into today's practice. So it's hard. I remember as a player, and it's hard as a coach. Our off day for our guys is Monday. So in one respect, you need the time off to get your body right. But in the other aspect is you really want to get back to work. Our guys are so mentally tough and they're so resilient. They're so inspirational to me is how hard they fight. They will bounce back and they'll be ready to roll. Is it disappointing to lose? Yeah, but on the other side, when you win a game, you got to turn it around quickly as well. I guess the difference is wins can energize you, and then defeats can kind of deflate you in some respects. But if you're really mentally tough, you'll respond and realize that it's your character that's going to define you, and it's going to define our team. And I know we're a young team and inexperienced, but in terms of character and resiliency, I feel great about our team.
Thank you. Troy?
Yeah, Coach, from the secondary standpoint, we've seen some very nice moments from Colin Wright, the interception that he had, which his knee wouldn't have been on the ground, but that's how the game works sometimes. And Zeron Manley has been a bit of a rock in the secondary as well. What have you seen from those guys at the corners particular, and what could be on their plate this week?
Yeah, a tremendous challenge for those guys this week. Very excited about both of those two players there. I think it's a strength for us, those two guys. And then, Jaden Slocum is a guy that we need to get in the mix in terms of getting him healthy and ready to roll, which I think he will be this week. So, just not a ton of depth in that group. But the two guys and including Jaden, the three guys, those guys are good players, and they certainly have room to improve, but I'm really proud of where they're at and how they've progressed with Paul Williams.
Thank you. John?
Coach, can you recount the backstory of the onside kick? I've been doing this a long time, or watching football a long time, and that sort of pooch that went 12 yards or whatever it was that Coach Gregory's idea, your idea, kind of?
Coach Gregory's idea, and the ball was unbelievably kicked. You couldn't have walked it over and placed it in a better position. It was a nice play by Bryce as well, but that was something that Coach Gregory and his staff and assistants that help out on special teams had seen and felt like it gave us a chance. And then, Josh he's remarkable. He's really an incredible player, both in everything he does and just the detail that's involved. How mentally tough he is. It was just an incredible play by both those guys.
Ben?
Yeah, just talk about the running game, kind of thoughts and how that's kind of going so far. And do you feel you can maybe getting more out of those guys? Because it seems like when they get touches, there's good things that do happen.
Yeah, we'd like to get more explosive runs. I think there certainly has been times where we've felt good about our run game, but we got to get more out of it. There's always going to be a balance between, running the football and taking shots and all of those things and not getting behind the sticks. And so that's always going to be the case. But yeah, I got confidence in our backs and I got confidence in our offensive line. We got a long ways to go in terms of being consistent. But there are certainly moments when you see it and you're like, wow, that was pretty good. We just got to do it on a more consistent basis.
Steve?
Yeah, Troy, apologize. I got in a little late. If you've had this question already, I apologize. Any update on your quarterback situation?
Yeah, they'll both, I'm going to use them both. I think they'll both play throughout the year. I really like them both. They're competitive. They're tough. There's certain things that each one of them does a little bit better, and then, but they're both well-rounded guys. So I would anticipate, all year playing both those guys. We're going to need them both. We got to be better around them for sure. We got to do a better job of protecting them, be more consistent in the run game, and I got to do a better job of putting them in positions to be successful and keep them out of third and longs and situations where they're getting hit and hurried. So. But those guys are talented, and I feel good about both of them.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Back to Troy.
Yeah, Coach, how's John Humphreys doing? His potential availability for the weekend. Anything else we might need to know on that front as of right now?
Yeah, with John, he's improving. We'll see if this week will be the week that he will come back. It's our first day of practice, and he's working hard to try to get himself ready. But no news right now on that.
Thank you, Troy. Any other questions for Coach Taylor? All right, thank you so
All
much.
right,
Coach
thanks,
Taylor.
guys. I appreciate you. Have a great day. Thank you.
All right, we have Alec here. We'll take questions in the same way we took them for Coach Taylor. Troy?
Alec, first off, so to start here, take us through the touchdown as you remember from the play call to going up and getting and breaking free for the score. What do you remember from that play, and how much confidence has it given you since then?
Yeah, I remember it was 3rd and 9. So obviously it's a play that you have to have. And we called the play. I can't say it obviously because it's in our playbook. And I know I had a post route. They put me at a Z, and I thought that's the first in the progression. So I thought if I can just show Ash that I'm gonna be open, like I'm gonna get the ball. So the DB was kind of playing soft press or a soft shoot. So I was like, I'm just gonna run and not even give this guy release. So I just started running. He threw the ball. I immediately, when it came out his hands, it was like a little bit underthrown. So I'm like, oh, Coach O always says like go and attack those underthrows, because the worst case scenario, you're going to go through the DB and get a PI. Best case scenario, you catch the ball and it's going to be a highlight reel. So I just started coming back towards the ball, and the DB kind of made a misstep and gave me opportunity and I capitalized on it. And I got in the end zone.
Thank you, Troy. John?
Alec, not asking you to say which quarterback is better, but just how they're different. The throws from Justin and the throws from Ashton, as far as the routes you run and just kind of how you're adjusting to each of them.
Yeah, I honestly, like, to me, there's not much of a difference. Like when I go in, I never really like think about who the quarterback is. I think both of them like deliver the ball on time, accurately. And when I go in, I'm just going in thinking like, what play do we have? What do I have to do? What's my assignment? And I have full trust that both of them are going to execute their assignment. And I haven't really when I'm in there, I never think, oh, this quarterback's in, oh, maybe I should do this differently, or it's going to look different this way. It just, the ball comes out, I see the ball and I catch it. And for the most part, it's always on time and accurate.
Harold?
Yeah, I'm just wondering what's the mindset of the team right now after, a couple of tough losses, especially the one on Saturday being close and late.
Yeah, I think just when we watch back the film, like we see everybody has flashes like where they do their job and it looks great. But everybody also has their flashes where they don't do their job. But when you see those plays where everybody's doing what they're supposed to do, like that's when we really have those great plays. So I don't think any of us think that we're far off. I think we just have to be more consistent. And it's not that big of a change. And I think we all know that. We just have to make those incremental improvements on our assignments and just execute the fundamentals. And that's what's really going to push us forward.
Troy?
How does someone get from Medicine Hat, Alberta, of course, via Massachusetts, where you prepped, but how does a football player get from Medicine Hat, Alberta to Stanford?
Yeah, it was a pretty long process. When I think I was 14, we have like provincial teams and we play in like a national tournament. And I was playing on one of those, it was under 16. So 14 to 15-year-olds. Ended up playing pretty well. And my receiver coach thought I would have like a good shot at making it D1. So he hooked me up with this guy in Canada. His name is Justin Dillon, and his company is 730 Scouting. Basically what they do is they send Canadian high school football players down to America to play high school football. And that's like the best opportunity you can get to get recruited Division I. So I thought like, I'm going to do this. Like, this is like my opportunity and I should take it. And the like worst thing that can happen is I just have to come back to Canada if I don't make it. So I came down and I first went to New Jersey, and our head coach ended up leaving there. So I transferred to Massachusetts and just played football. The football went great. The recruiting went great. And I ended up here at Stanford, which was my goal from the beginning. I had always wanted to come here when I first moved.
Thank you, Troy. Ben?
Yeah, could you just talk about your relationship with wide receiver coach Tyler Osborne and just kind of what you've kind of learned from him so far?
Yeah, Coach Osborne has been great, like all around. I think even though he's super young, he's like just early 30s or late 20s, I think. He has so much football knowledge, I think, from like a schematic standpoint and also just from like a receiver technique standpoint. And I've learned a whole bunch since he's been here. He is like very detailed and like on point with what he wants you to do. And I think that helps us a lot, being able to see those things and why they work and why they're doing them. And then also he brings out, he works a lot with Coach Taylor, and he brings out like the whole scheme of the offense to us and shows us why we're doing everything that we're doing and how it all fits together. And I think that helps like broaden our view of why the things that we're doing are so important.
Thank you, Ben. John?
Alec, what's cool about a receiver room is you all bring unique talents, but given you also may from time to time learn something from the guys that have preceded you. Like you were in a room last year with Mike Wilson and Elijah, and they're off to the NFL now. John Humphreys obviously is an upperclassman of distinction. Is there any trait or practice habit or something from one of those guys or some other of your fellow receivers that you looked at and go, I like that. I like that habit, or I like that move that you have picked up? And if the answer is no, the answer is no, but I'm just kind of curious what the impact of some of the older guys on you has been.
Yeah, there's definitely like a whole bunch of different moves, jukes, techniques that I've got from them. But I think like the main thing that I got from some of the older receivers that went to the NFL is just like how they approach every day. I think like even though those guys like Mike got drafted in the 3rd round and Elijah got drafted, like they were really good players, but every day it seemed like they were coming in like everybody like undervalued them, like they had a chip on their shoulder. So every day they came into practice very, very focused, focused on what their job was and trying to get better, even though they were already great players. And I think like that's the main thing that I took away from them.
Thank you, John. Troy?
What's the task ahead for the receivers this week against the Wildcats, especially against a cornerback crew down in Tucson that seems pretty long and able to make plays on the ball?
Yeah. I mean, I would take our guys against anybody. I have full trust in them, and I think our coaches do and our team do as well. We just gotta, it really just comes down to executing our assignments for each and every play. It doesn't sound that difficult. You just do what the coaches have put for you on each and every play. And if you can execute that assignment, then you should be fine against anybody, no matter who they are, what their names are, or how athletic they are. I think if you just do your job, you should be fine.
Thank you, Troy. Ben?
Yeah, just what are your thoughts on Moody Rubin, your teammate? You guys came in together. Just talk about what he's doing on the field for you guys.
Yeah, Moody is very impressive. He's only been playing football since his junior year, I think. And when we came in together, like you could kind of tell that he was very new to football, but to see like how much he improves like every single day, like it's insane. Like he obviously he's very naturally gifted. He moves in ways that I think surprise us every day. But to see him like really pick up the game of football and become more of like a football player every day has been great to watch. Yeah, like he's my brother now. We came in together, and it's just been awesome growing together.
John?
I'm sure, Alec, you're not a numbers guy, but I think it's really cool that you have at least one catch every game. Is that maybe it's not number one on your list, but just kind of having that. I want to get involved every game. I want to be part of this train going forward and being consistent and getting at least one grab every game.
Yeah, I don't think I really think about that. I think I just go out there again and do what I'm supposed to do. If the ball comes my way, then I'm going to make the most of the opportunity. And if it doesn't, then if I'm doing my job and somebody else makes the play, then it's still a positive. I don't think that I ever think about the statistics or anything like that. I think the most important part is winning. And if the team wins, then I'm going to be happy with it. And if we lose, then you just got to go back and see what it is that you can improve on yourself. And then if everybody else does that, it should be good moving forward.
Any other questions for Alec? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, how y'all doing?
All right, we got Gaethan here. We'll take questions with the raise hand function. John Plotz, you're up first.
Gaethan, greetings. Just curious, in prior years, you had fall camp, summer camp, and the humidity of Florida. What was it like coming out here and going through an August in California weather?
Man, it's been great. I remember my first spring practice. When we first went out there, everyone was saying it was hot and humid stuff. I was feeling great. You know what I mean? Compared to the Florida weather, it's way more humid down there. So as far as the humidity and how hot it gets, I've adjusted pretty well. And I love it, actually.
Thank you, John. Troy?
Hey, Gaethan, give us a big picture, a snapshot here of how you think things have gone overall for the Stanford defense, things that have gone right and some things that could be going better at this point.
So we had a guest speaker come speak to us before the game yesterday. He's an alumni here, and he taught us about potential as a two-edged sword. Potential meaning like you have all the abilities to do it, but the other side of the sword is you haven't done it yet. So we have a lot of potential. There's a lot of great things we put on film. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of things like we know we mess up on that we know can be fixed. Like, for example, we have to stop giving up free yards. We have to stop messing up on little things. So we're heading in the right direction. We have to just put all the pieces together.
Thank you, Troy. Harold?
Do you know who that speaker was? Just out of curiosity.
I forgot his name. He played offensive lineman. He played offensive line here. I told you his name.
Okay, I can ask someone else. I guess it seems like the dual threat quarterbacks have kind of posed some challenges for the defense in the last couple of weeks. You have a lot more dual threat quarterbacks kind of on the horizon. What do you think are the things you guys need to improve on, I guess, to be more effective?
So yeah, when it comes to dual threat quarterbacks, we need to be able to get our eyes on the QB, especially when we're in zone coverage, especially on third down. You know, get to the sticks, be able to get to the sticks, get vision on the quarterback, and we have to stay in our rush lanes. That's a big thing Coach emphasizes every day in practice. So that's one thing we have to do. We have to do better at, especially with the quarterbacks that are in this league. We have to be better at that.
Thank you. John?
Gaethan, specific to Arizona, your opponent this week, what is your impression of their run game? Number 6, Michael Wiley, veteran. Got a younger guy, number 3, Jonah Coleman. We've got a deeper, at least one big run against UTEP last week. What's your thoughts, having looked at or thought about or looked at film of the Arizona run game?
They have pretty great. They have a pretty good offense as far as how they run the football. They have some pretty physical backs. So we really have to We're gonna have to game tackle this week. We're gonna have to get them guys on the ground. As far as the offensive line is pretty good. They can move. They're pretty smart up front. But at the end of the day, we have to tackle. We have to be great when it comes to open field tackles and just all around as a defense.
Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, just kind of want to get your thoughts on the red zone defense specifically. How do you guys feel you guys are doing that department, and what needs to change for you guys to maybe get more stops in the red zone?
As far as red zone, we haven't got the red zone game plan as of now. I believe red zone is a Wednesday or Thursday during the week. But when it comes to red zone, our job is to keep them out the end zone, stop them from scoring touchdowns, force 3 points instead of 7. So we just have to be really intentional about where we are on the field, and we have to make plays in the red zone. And we did that. We caught an interception in the red zone. I thought that was pretty cool. So we just gotta make more plays in the red zone and force 3 points instead of 7.
John?
Gaethan, tell us how you got to Stanford, what the initial reach out was, kind of what your visit was like. Just how does a young man who had a great career in South Florida come out west?
So Stanford, man. So when I was in the portal, I remember it was about 1 a.m. back in Miami. I was still up. I was with my family. And Coach Bobby April, he called me. I didn't recognize the number, but I answered, and he was all fired up. He told me who he was.
At 1 a.m. you took the call?
It was late. It was late, man. It was late. So I was still up. He called me. He told me who he was. He was still at Wisconsin at this point. But he offered me the opportunity to come here at Stanford. And at that point, it was wraps. Like, I stopped talking to everybody else. And then I called him back like an hour later. Now it's like 2 a.m. now. It's like 2 a.m. I talked it over with my family, and it was a done deal. I told Coach April, I told Mike Ebanks, who was previously here, this is where I wanted to be. Like, where a better place there is than Stanford. We play football at the elitist level. We go to the best school in the country. It wasn't like I didn't have to put too much thought into it. This doesn't compare to anywhere else in the country.
Ben?
Yeah, you kind of already mentioned Bobby April, but just talk about your relationship with him and what it's been like playing under him so far.
Me and Coach April have a great relationship. You know, he's kind of like a player's coach in terms of being able to connect with us off the field. He has a great sense of humor, but when it's time to work, it's time to work. You know what I mean? Last week, and every day in practice, he's all about running to the football, getting to the football. I remember one of my reps, the ball was thrown like 50, 60 yards down the field. He actually raced me to the ball. That was one of the cool things. It was great to see on film. I was running a blitz, so I had to come out the stack, and I looked to my left. I just see Coach April. He's racing me to the ball. Obviously, you know, I beat him. You know what I mean? So I was just trying to make sure he didn't pull no hammers or anything like that. But that's just what type of coach he is, man. He wants to get his guys better. So me and Coach April have a great relationship.
Thank you, Harold.
It seemed like the last Saturday could have been maybe a demoralizing loss for you guys. How have you kind of picked up the pieces from there, and how's the rest of the team doing, do you think?
You know, we watched the tape on Sunday, and you know, it's a long season. You know, it's a hazardous journey, and you know, we have to move forward. We can't dwell on the past. We have to look forward and see how we can learn from our mistakes. Because you know, everyone knew on this team that we weren't supposed to lose that game. We left a lot of players on the field, made a few mistakes here and there, but at the end of the day, we have to move forward and focus on our next opponent.
Troy?
Usually at the other inside linebacker spot for much of the time, you've got Tristan Sinclair right next to you. Kind of take us through, you know, what's on your guys' plates respectively from week to week, and just how much, you know, maybe in lockstep you guys, you know, have to be in from a mental standpoint whenever you're out there on the field.
Yeah, so me and Tristan have a good relationship. That's one of the first guys I met when I came on my visit here. So being able to play next to him is truly a blessing, man. It's great. You know, we talk back and forth, and just being an inside linebacker in college football now is not something everyone can do. We have to be able to play the run like defensive linemen. They want us to cover like defensive backs. You know what I mean? So everyone is counting on us to make the checks, make the right check, you know, get a D-line set up. So in order for us to do that, we have to be on our stuff. Like right after this meeting, I gotta go get my playbook, get ready for this game this week.
Thank you, John.
Guys, I'm always impressed with the portal being so ubiquitous now. A lot of guys are doing it. Guys like you had good careers elsewhere, then you come to a new place. I'm not saying it's starting over, but you kind of have to like, where's my influence, and what, you know, where do I lead? Where do I step back? How's that been for you? Like maybe I'll say it this way. What special have you been able to bring maybe to the program or your teammates, that something you brought from your prior program, or just maybe an attitude you have that you see other guys kind of picking up on?
So I came here, you know, with 2 years of experience. You know, I started over there for 2 years. So just being able to come here and play poised, you know, my teammates when we're on the field together, not panicking when we see something we haven't seen before. Stay poised, make the checks. And one thing we always like to do before we take the field, while we're on the field, we like to give each other, we do a handshake with everyone, clap each other up, because at the end of the day, we're here for each other. That's my brother. He trusts me, I trust him. So just being able to play for one another, being able to play together, man, that's all it comes down to. So we can be the best defense on the field that Saturday.
Any other questions for Gaethan? Ben?
Yeah, just in general, how excited, you guys already had a home game, but this weekend's a home game, Pac-12 home game, and school's starting, so, you know, more students in full force, hopefully. Just how exciting is it to be having a home game, league game, first of the year with students in class and session?
It's really exciting, man. Just yesterday, I had some of my peers, some of my classmates come ask me about the game. A lot of them were saying they were excited to see us play. A lot of them kept coming up to me about, I guess I had this thing on the Jumbotron singing like a Taylor Swift song or something like that. A lot of them have videos, and they thought that was pretty cool. So I thought that was pretty funny for them to, you know, come to the game, see me on the Jumbotron, and just, so having your friends essentially at the games is one of the coolest things ever. So I'm excited about that.
All right. Thank you so much, Gaethan.
Thank you guys for having me. You guys have a good one.
And that'll
Thanks,
be the
Gaethan.
conference. Thank you.